Hi YouTube. Just finished watching Thunderfoot's Why Feminism is Poisoning Atheism Part 2 video. And it's just a kind of a little follow-up to my last video, which is a little bit silly. I will concede at this point in time, I've seen a few videos on this, including Wise Apple's a good logical argument on it. I'll confess to people out there that and I suppose, yes, it's in defense of Thunderfoot, to be honest. You see, I will be very honest with you, I was very lazy about it. I just never really got into the atheism plus stuff. I just never studied it. I never got into it. I'm familiar with the whole Rebecca Watson and feminism argument, but I just didn't care about any of that stuff at all. And so I've been doing a little bit of research. I mean, in my own defense, I mean, as per my channel, I spend a lot of time sort of mixed between the humanist cause through various organizations and politics, actually. I mean, I'm working on a more serious video about this man here on the rise, Mr. Nigel Farage. He was kind enough to give me his book and personally signed. That was my next video. And I concentrate a lot on politics and little biographies or other things. So, I mean, unlike Noel Plum, unlike Wise Apple, or I'm not saying that they're obsessed with this or concentrate too much on this, or Thunderfoot indeed, but so that's what I would say. I just kind of trying to concentrate on the main cause rather than all the diversions. Even though I'm not apologizing necessarily to Thunderfoot. All I said in my last video, I said, why bother with this bullshit? However, I can see the merits in it. In terms of conferences, again, I would say, I was trying to sort of put a postscript on this. I was thinking, this is probably why I confess I didn't take it very seriously, is that, it's like, normally conferences are official organizations. What do I normally hear about in terms of conferences? A teacher's conference, a police conference, a political conference. Let's take a political conference. Rules and regulations, of course. If you are a card-carrying member of a political organization, you're in a political conference. I can't, if I'm not a member of that party, unless I'm invited or as a delegate, I can't go up and talk on the platform. Yeah, absolutely not, because unless you're invited, there are rules and regulations about that, of course. The point I'm making is culturally, you'd be on the same page. I mean, oftentimes, so imagine a political party conference anywhere. Oftentimes, you'll have people, a completely homogenous group, same language, same culture, and same political objective. They're hardly going to sort of harass each other, even though late at night in the hotels, there are oftentimes a little bit of hanky-panky between adults. What I would offer, and again, if it were police or teachers or nurses, they're all there with a singular agenda, and professional people. So it's a kind of a given that there would be a certain protocol achieved. What I would say about atheist conference, because they're international, this is an important point, I think, is that, oftentimes you'll get people who are of very mixed culture, mixed language, mixed race, mixed everything. Perhaps there are cultural exceptions. I'm saying this to you because I work in an environment, for example, I've told you many, many times in the European Parliament, where we have representation from 27 member states and 23 official languages. The protocol, let me tell you, can be very, very messy sometimes. When you meet someone, some cultures don't even like to shake hands. Some cultures do not like kissing on the cheek, a greeting. And others are offended if you don't kiss them. Maybe it's twice, maybe it's 3 times, it's a mess. But but we don't have anarchy and we don't have any stories. And even within the European institutions, sexual harassment can be a problem. Bullying can be a problem. And human resources units and personnel have strict guidelines to follow any harassment on that. People go to conferences like myself and my wife. You pay and you travel to go somewhere. Presumably, as Thunderfoot said, you want to just celebrate the positivity of it. So all I'm saying is magnifying and I've been at a few conferences, I had a few beers and all the rest of it. again, I said this in another video, and I'll be accused of saying, well, hey, Sky, just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it isn't going on. But I will tell you this, perhaps, but it would be microscopic compared to the positivity. As Thunderf00t said, you can see in the nice pictures when he was in I think it was Washington. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's about. And it is, like it was for me in Dublin and in Germany. And it's normally just that. Last point. You may have, as I say, that mixed demographic in the conferences. It could be, you know, sometimes everyone that whereas political, make the comparison with politics again, last point, political people are very polished social speakers, and they cross the I's and they dot the I's, cross the T's, sorry, cancel that. They're not going to screw up and all that. You know, I mean, at an atheist conference, and again, when people have different cultural background, different languages perhaps, different modes of social engagement, and therein lies the problem. I will say with all respect that a lot of times people who go to the conferences, an atheist conference, you know who they tend to be, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? They tend to be quite nerdy people, maybe even me. From a science background, a law background, a political background. Think about that. And oftentimes I'm going to say with all respect, and not pointing any fingers at anyone in any of those categories, so don't see yourself in the mirror here. Oftentimes I have noticed that people who are very political, sometimes people who are very from a scientific background, an academic background, are not necessarily very polished in social graces and protocol. They can be a bit clumsy. But just that, just a bit clumsy. So maybe that sort of would explain, you know, maybe the problem in discourse at some of the conferences or whatever. So anyway, in resume, I just thought I'd throw that in terms of well-established conference protocol in all of those other professional regards. So, yeah, but I mean, I wasn't attacking Thunderf00t in my last video. I really wasn't. I was disengaged really from the whole thing, wasn't following it. And basically what I was saying is don't waste your time on this bullshit. But I'm glad he has made the videos. If the thing has to be highlighted, as I say, I was just behind in the whole thing, disengaged. Yeah, fine, it serves a purpose. And yeah, and I've been, you know, as I said, provoked by some pretty good videos, Thunderf00t's, No Plums and Wise Apples, yeah. But that's all I can say to it. Yeah, a good point that Wise Apple made, that, you know, the danger is that people are not going to go anymore. And I think that comes through in Thunderf00t as well. It's just that killjoys, Puritans, and I think that's what's going on in the sexual area. It's not about feminism, it's just Puritanism. That's it. Loosen up, that's all I can say to people, loosen up a little bit. And again I say, last word, that the law is the law, and I said it in my last video. If someone, you know, drops the hand, we used to say, on you, assaults you, touching you, that's common assault, that's the law. You can just call the police. It's not because you're at an atheist conference or it's a male, female thing. You can call the police if you want. It's called common assault, at least in my part of the world. It's a crime. And I have never seen any crimes of that nature at an atheist conference. So, yeah, we shouldn't be hijacked by any rules and regulations about that. One would hope that, like I say, it's a kind of a mutual understanding and intention that anyone going to a conference, again, like politicians or police or nurses or doctors or anyone else, it would seem very unlikely, because we're all on the same page, the same objective, that anyone would sort of go way over the borders. No, I don't think there's any need for any kind of rule book. What rule book? And for whom? Thanks for watching, everyone. And I hope this is my last word on it. I never want to talk about this again. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching.